Before we begin the show, hit that like button to show us love. Hit that free subscribe button so I know I'm reaching everybody, and hit that bell so you know when's the show.
Men in particular, what they tend to do is they wrap their ego up around their financial success.
Same income, totally different rules. Let me explain before you get mad.
A man is not a financial planner.
I do not own any rights to this content by Priscilla Facey. For more of her content, check it out on her social media platforms.
If they can't, a man with money is expected to share, but a woman with money is told she doesn't need a man. Same income, totally different rules. Let me explain before you get mad. In our culture, men are taught from day one that if they're not earning, they're failing. If they can't provide, they're not real men. If they don't pick up the check, they're broke or stingy. A man's value is often reduced to his financial output. Now flip the script. When women become successful, we don't expect them to carry anybody. In fact, we celebrate it as a form of freedom. Yes, queen, you're independent. She doesn't need a man. He's expected to provide, but she's expected to escape. Because if we really want partnership, then we need to stop placing all the financial burden on one side.
So, did you get the message? That's okay if you didn't. Just continue watching the video to the end. We will begin by defining the difference between financial independence and financial freedom. An article on WebsterBank.com describes financial independence as a point at which money is no longer the main motivation in your decision-making process. The entirety of this article can be found using its title, Freedom versus Financial Independence, Key Differences and How It Works Towards Both. Now, let's discuss how important financial independence is for both genders. For women, financial is very important, and long-term security from a financial standpoint is super critical for women to accomplish financial stability. Current time can make it easy to take women's financial rights and freedom for granted. Let's briefly go back in time in 1848 when New York recognizes women's rights to financial independence by passing the Women's Property Act. This is why women today have the right to receive an inheritance, own a bank account, and many other things without permission or signature from her husband. And in 1903, a successful native, Richmond, Virginia, native whose name is Maggie Lena Walker, became the first American woman to own a bank. For any curious ears, the name of the bank was and still is St. Luke Penny Savings Bank. You can find a very informative article on the late great Maggie Lena Walker at mps.gov by searching for her credentials. In 1938, the Fair Label Standards Act was passed to establish a minimum wage for those individuals, especially for women, who were not making enough to live independent due to low-paying jobs. In 1963, President John F. Kennedy signs the Equal Pay Act that allows every worker to be paid the same as everyone else who was performing the same job. And in 1974, women, whether single, divorced, or widowed, could apply for credit loans without needing a man to co-sign. This was now possible thanks to the Equal Opportunity Credit Act being passed, stating that women can own their own without needing a male relative or a male to co-sign. After that brief history refresher, it is safe to say that women are just as prideful as men and just wanted financial freedom. This info came from website gohenry.com called The History of Women and Money. Now, let's analyze the men's side of financial independence. When you search for history of men's financial independence, you find it hard to find anything too specific. Instead, you will see that since the beginning of creation, and of currency, men have had access to riches and were taught to be financially independent. Let's dive deeper. Financial independence for men provides the ultimate freedom, ensuring that a man can turn an unfulfilling job to entrepreneurship with just a conversation with the right leader. Other benefits include quitting dead end jobs to search or work for yourself, which reduces anxiety and stress and puts you in line for early retirement. According to history.state.gov, abiding by U.S. Constitution of 1789, the new federal government enjoyed increased authority to manage U.S. finances and raise revenues through taxation. Responsibility for managing debts fell to Secretary of Treasurer Alexander Hamilton. Private loans were received from the Dutch capital markets in order to pay off debt. Hamilton planned on creating the nation's first bank designed as central banking system. After much persistence, Hamilton persuaded Congress. In 1791, the bill was passed and the nation's first central banking system with signature of President George Washington was born. So thanks to Hamilton, we have the financial independence. And if you still don't believe that you could also earn this same freedom because it's earned, not given, then just look back at the history and see how many times something has failed but got back on track and flourished. Final thoughts. Both men and women have the desire to be financially independent, not just man, but both genders desire to be successful. It is important and it is easy confidence builder and a great way to build a successful financial background for yourself. I have no rights to the content displayed in the next video clip by Alejandra Maria. Let's close with this video.
A man is not a financial
Get your
plan.
degree, build your career, build your savings, start investing, build that company. The women that I know that are in the happiest relationships, myself included, the reason why we're happy is because we've chosen our partner. We didn't have to settle for them because our livelihood didn't depend on it. Because if you give someone the power to feed you, you also give them the power to starve you. You have no idea how a person is going to act when they truly believe that you will never walk away because you are dependent on them.
Find more by Alejandra Maria on all social media platforms for more of her content. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you today. Before you leave, hit that bell, give a thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button, which is 100% free subscription. We'll see you next time on Man vs. Woman.